YouTube Nation, Man Fit TV, aka Me TV, aka Real Talk, no gimmicks. And I put it like this: I told you before that when these guys, these local guys, mess up, every time they act a fool, I told you I will knock them down a notch, and it's gonna get serious today, all right? Because that's what we gotta talk about. Before I get started, I do want to talk about Eagles Nation, Eagles fans. I don't understand you. I understand that we drafted Matt Barkley, and you're happy with that, but also understand that Matt Barkley is not the answer right now. I can't believe that people are on the wagon with this. And I put it like this, all right? Because people said since, Matt Barkley has been drafted by the Eagles, people are saying, how many games do you think Matt Barkley will start this year? Yeah, that's what they're saying. And people are like, 4 games, 6 games, 7 games. Are you serious? Matt Barkley will not start this year unless there's some freak accident that happens with Vic, Foles, Dixon, or whoever else we got on the damn roster as a quarterback. We have way too many quarterbacks on our roster for Matt Barkley to come in and take the #1 spot. You've got to be kidding me here. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that Nick Foles is really going to get the bad end of the stick here. He's either going to get traded or somebody's going to get redshirted. Someone has to. You can't keep 4 quarterbacks on your starting roster. You just can't. You can't. Someone's going to get redshirted or traded. And I think that Nick Foles is going to get the bad end of it. I really think that he's going to end up getting, traded for a draft pick or something else. I think he is. I think he's going to get the bad end of the stick here. And I told you this at the end of the season, that Nick Foles did not get a fair shake because they put him out there with that bad offensive line, so you really couldn't tell his potential. But yet, people were still okay with that, weren't they? I don't get this. They just wanted to see what he can do. And then when you saw what he can do, it's like, oh, he's not the answer. He didn't get a fair assessment. Told you, it takes 2-3 years to assess a quarterback, but no one wants to hear that. I don't get you Eagles fans. But here's the thing. A lot of Eagles fans are on board now with Matt Barkley because Chip Kelly came out and said, oh, well, he's mentally tough, so we like Matt Barkley. And everyone took that and ran with it. Really? So is that why Matt Barkley has been having problems mentally with his numbers? Not even his numbers, but just the way he runs offenses. That's right. You know what? I really don't like Derek Gunn that much, but in this part, he makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Ron, if we had been looking at the Matt Barkley of 2011, I would feel a lot better about answering that question in terms of emphatic yes, because this guy was on point, made all his necessary throws, won a lot of big games for the team in 2011, but he tapered off in 2012. Even before he got injured, he just wasn't the same quarterback. Even though his numbers and his overall passing percentage were not that much different than the previous year, but it was just something about the way he ran that offense. It just didn't click as well as it did the previous year. Now, the one thing I do like about him is he's coming in here with this chip on his shoulder, and he has already told everybody who's listening, there are a lot of people out there that are going to remember this day because you didn't draft me. Okay, now, if you're going to put it out there, now you've got to deliver.
Back it up.
Even more interestingly enough, let's see how Chip Kelly can get this kid's head back on straight and find that Matt Barkley of old.
So for a guy who's supposed to be mentally tough, and all the Eagles fans, they're already on the wagon with it, we have to wait for our new coach to mold him, to guide him, to get him back to being mentally tough. Do you see the problem here, Eagles fans? Seriously, back it down a notch. Understand, this is a work in progress. I'm not saying that Matt Barkley is bad, but it's going to take a while for this guy to develop. Relax. And some of you are already screaming Super Bowl. Stop. Stop. What's wrong with you? Don't you understand that this is a rebuilding season? It seems like a lot of people are not keeping their priorities in check. Understand, if we win 6-7 games, that's a good season for the Eagles. For a rebuilding season, relax. And for what they've been saying already, Michael Vick has pretty much taken all the reps with sprinkles of Foles here and there. So Michael Vick is going to be your starter for the season unless he gets injured again. Relax. Seriously, I want to move on, Eagles fans. I need to talk about the local media here and their disrespectful, ignorant ways of what they've done. For those who don't understand, Tony Bruno of 97.5, all right, came out and decided that he wants to be a basketball fan all of a sudden and wore Golden State Warriors colors and was throwing up gang signs. That's right, in the studio. That's right, we're talking about old man throwing up gang signs in the studio. Here's the tweet and the picture of one of the pictures of what they put on Twitter. You've got to be kidding me. All right, you know what? It's time to get a little serious. It's time to put this dude in his place, as far as I'm concerned. Tony Bruno, it is not a joke. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a game to mock people with gang signs when you know nothing about that demographic. And I take this personally now because I've seen people killed over gang activity. I've known people who have been in gangs and trying to talk them out of getting out of gang activity, and they end up dying. All right? This is very personal for me. This is something that is not a laughing matter. So for you to come out, you know, you come home from your suburban place, your comforting place, you're probably a little family, you know, your kids, you come into your studio with your slacks on. You knew going in that you were going to get a jersey, you were going to get a jacket, and you were going to act a fool on camera so that you can get some ratings. A man of your age acting in this conduct. I have to ask the million-dollar question is, how do you still have a job? Because anyone else who would act like this would be out of a job. But let's go a little bit further. Because Tony Bruno, since you know the demographics so much, how you know what a thug is. I want you to tell me, Tony Bruno, what consists of being a thug? Because if you're reading the tweet, all right, it says that he's throwing up gang signs because he secretly loves the NBA. So what you're saying is that the players in the NBA who have worked their asses off to get where they are at are thugs. And the demographic that watches this apparently are thugs too. You've got to be kidding me. Let me show you something. I want to show you something that's in its pure and simplest form right now. And it's not just Tony Bruno, it's for you guys too. Okay? If you're even listening still. Okay? This ball is the most consistent thing in my life. Okay? Most consistent thing is in its simplest form. This ball, no matter what happens in world tragedies, bombings, tsunamis, whatever, personal problems with family, friends, girlfriends, wives, people who say they love you, people who say they care for you and will be there for you, and then they're not. This ball can't lie to you. You know, you say the ball don't lie. No, it can't lie. Because this ball teaches you self-reliance. That's what it does. When you miss a shot, guess what? It's because your form was off. If you don't get that bounce, because your form was off. It's not luck. And people down the hood, you know how it is. Sometimes they call it a shooter's bounce, but some of you call it a church bounce. Understand, Tony Bruno, this ball has changed lives. It has gotten people out of situations. It has kept people alive. It's kept people out of jail. It has opened doors, opportunities for people. And if you ask some NBA players, it has influenced others in a positive aspect. This ball is more than just a game. This ball is a way of life. And for you to sit here and disrespect that has to be the worst thing, the most disrespectful thing, not only because some people can make a case for what you just did as racist, okay, insensitive. This ball is more than just a sport. This ball kept me out of trouble. And I'll be damned if you're going to come around here and think because you're a radio personality that you can exploit it for some ratings. You're attention whore. You're scum, as far as I'm concerned. Understand, at the end of the day, we're not going to see Tony Bruno at a hood, at a hood tournament. We're not going to see Tony Bruno on the court anywhere shooting. We're not going to see Tony Bruno roll his ankle and then have to get up, you know what I mean, and have to play through that pain because his team depends on him or his family depends on him. That ball sometimes is how people eat. Sometimes people can't even sleep unless they have their full-on shots, their practices. There's guys who shoot 400, 500 times in the NBA before warm-ups because they take it so seriously. You understand, Tony Bruno, you have not only disrespected the sport, a demographic, you have shamed your family. You've shamed yourself. Old man acting like this. I told you before, 97.5, as far as I'm concerned, until you do something about this, do not contact me. I'm done. You have to be kidding me. And I know some of you are going to say, oh, you really did cut ties with him? Yeah, I'm ready to cut ties with him. If this is the type of people you keep around there, I want nothing to do with it. I told you before, in life, you have to keep people around you that are good people. There are positive influences. I can't tell you how many times there's been the stereotype of what a thug is. I'm sure people from the hood, you know what I'm talking about. Regardless how you've acted, you can just walk somewhere and be dressed a certain way and you're automatically stereotyped. You know this. So tell me, Tony Bruno, since you know so much about being a thug, all right, throwing up gang signs, what consists of being a thug? I mean, let's take me for example. Is it because of the way I talk? Is it because, you know, I react? Is it because I got my hat to the side a little bit? Huh? Is that if I take off my hat and have my do-rag on, does that make me a thug? What makes me a thug? What do you consist of a thug, Tony Bruno? You don't know. And that's the sad part. And for anybody to be okay with this and say it's just a joke, no, it's not a joke. It is dead serious. And yet, I guess people think they're going to sweep it under the rug because he's such a local guy, and it's not on a larger scale like how Don Imus did when he was calling people nappy-headed hoes. Y'all just don't get it, man. Y'all just don't learn. You don't learn from anything that has happened in the past. As far as I'm concerned, since apparently there's going to be no reprimand, he really deserves to be fired for this, as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, he knew what he was doing when he went into doing it. It's different if it was just random or something slipped out of his mouth or something. No. He planned this. So I'm not trying to hear an apology. It's sad that we have people like this representing Philadelphia sports. Like I said, these guys, at the end of the day, they're going to go home to their nice homes. All right? With their wives and their kids. You know, they can barely get off their, you know, their shoes. In their slacks, in their polo shirts or blazers, all right, to talk about sports. You have the easiest job in the world and you can't even do that correctly. Seriously? You can't even keep a lid on it, huh? You just got to go all out. You got to turn it into some type of circus. It's disgusting. You're disgusting. But yet, that's okay, right? See, I guess I just care too much. Maybe because I know how it feels, all right? And he doesn't. That's what it comes down to. Personal experience. Like I said, for the studio to let something like this just go by like there's nothing to it, that tells me a lot about the studio. It tells me a lot about the people who work at that studio. It's pathetic. But I do want to talk to Golden State fans real quick, because I know you saw he was wearing Golden State stuff. Like I said, yeah, he's a bandwagoner. He's a perfect example of a bandwagoner. But also understand, Golden State fans, I got a little surprise for you, because I told you before, you know, when we talked about Golden State season, you know, last season, the season before that, we just talked about basketball, you know, Monte Ellis and things like that when he was on Golden State. Here's something. I'm going to show you real jerseys. When it comes to Golden State, unlike him, he just went out and bought one. Check this out, people. Y'all going to know what this is. Check this out. Look at this. Look at this. Golden State City. Now, remember, this is the Nike edition. So you know what that means? That means the stitching is in the city part, but around the circle, it is print. The number 23, for those who know, Golden State fans, they know what 23 is, all right? Y'all know. It's stitching as well. But for those who don't know, y'all know I have to show y'all the back. J. Rich, baby. Like I said. And, just to show you, got to fit it with it, too. You know how old this jersey is? You know when I got this? I got this when it first came out, so it's very old. Now, understand, people. I just find it really funny when I see these type of things happen when San Francisco Giants fans came to. It was like, oh, event, he hates everything San Francisco. And I was just sitting back. What I say? You have no idea, man. No idea. It makes you look like an idiot. You think you know someone, and you don't. Understand, people, that this is something that really needs to be corrected. This goes beyond sports. I told you, basketball is a way of life. And when someone, you know, asks about that, show them this video. Explains everything. It's horrible that something like this would happen for someone who's supposed to be a pillar of sports radio. I can't believe this. It's time for him to move on. I told you before, it's time to bring in real sports guys, not clowns. Guys who don't even bleed for this sport. Guys who think that they make some money, come in, make some coin, and all of a sudden it's, yeah, I'm the man, I can have an ego about myself. Nah, man. That's not what it's about. Sports teaches you the opposite, to work harder. When there's a larger, you know, roadblock in your way, you knock it down. That's what it teaches you. It teaches you how to rely not just on yourself, but on your teammates as well. Sports brings people together. And as of late, we've seen here in Philly, it's tearing us apart. Because for those who don't know, a couple days ago, a guy was just shot on a basketball court over a basketball game. The very thing that we love is starting to turn into hate. But yet, you're not going to see the radio station talking about that. Nah. They don't want to talk about actual sports issues. You know, charities that can go for this. Mike Missinelli just not too long. Someone just paid $3,000 to go play a round of golf with him. Seriously? You could have used that money, put it down into a tournament, kept people off the street. You know what that does? That opens up opportunities for other people to get to know each other. God knows what that could have did for people. Instead, you want to wear your little shoes, play a little round of golf, smile for the camera. Nah. We on two different levels. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what y'all think. What I'm saying right now is on a higher level than what they thinking. That's how I feel. But that's the difference between being in the city, knowing the people, being down there, see what people are going through. Because I know how it feels. I went through it myself. And these dudes are sitting up real comfortable. That's what it is. They got comfortable. They don't have any hunger. They don't have it in them. So what they do is they say erroneous things, outlandish things just to get a reaction. Have to dress up in a certain way for a reaction. It's pathetic. Cheap tricks, gimmicks. And yet these are the people that are being followed. These are the people that are loved. What's going on, Philly? But I do want to get back to Golden State. I got to go back over to the West. All right? Because I got to talk about one Steph Curry. Now, for those who don't know, Steph Curry is a problem. How do you not see that? And it's sad that we have to see this because people still are not giving Steph Curry his due. And what I mean by that is when Golden State actually beat Denver, or when they were beating Denver, George Karl just wouldn't give him credit for nothing.
Well, this is how you take a 3-1 commanding series lead. Look at the balance there. Are you kidding me? George Karl, what happened?
We were chasing a double team, and they found him at the top of the key wide open. Boom. And then he decided he could make one from 30 feet. Boom. And then he made one out of the corner looking at the bench. And then they just gave him the ball and said, play one-on-one at the top, and got to the rim one time for, I think, a three-point play. So it's easy to score a lot of points when you make threes.
So, George Karl, if it's so easy to, score a lot of points from shooting threes, why didn't Denver do it? I'm just wondering. Look, George Karl, here's the thing. I've been telling you guys for previous 2 seasons about George Karl, all right? He should not be around. He's not a good coach. Like I said before, if Lenny Wilkens was still around, if he didn't retire X amount of years ago, he would have never beat Lenny Wilkens' record when it comes to wins and coaching, okay? Every year, Denver has been stacked, all right? And yet, George Karl still can't get over the hump. He still can't. And then you're not going to give Steph Curry his due? Look, this guy is the most pure shooter I've ever seen, all right? And the way he shoots, the way he releases, it's almost like watching a video game. It really is. There's times where he's not squared up. He's shooting off of one leg. He flicks the ball so quickly, all right? There's times where he's not even looking at the basket, and it still goes in. He's a problem, and no one is giving his due. Now, granted, Steph Curry is not an above-the-rim player. We know this. He's not the type of guy to really attack you in the paint. That's fine. That's not his game. But when he's shooting that many threes, you have to give him respect and give him attention. And if anyone's been watching these games, every time he does try to slash into the paint, what does he do? Dish it off. Because he has so many guys looking at him so much. That's what it comes down to. He's doing the right thing. There has been times that he has been kind of selfish, all right? I want to go back to game 1 real quick because before we went into overtime, we saw the other guy sitting on the wing waiting. He's like this. He wants the ball, and Steph Curry, what do you do? He sat right there at the foul line, and he was trying to go this way, and he went this way, and he didn't know where to go. He forced the shot instead of giving the ball up. Well, he made do for that just not too long ago when they beat, was it San Antonio, when he gave the ball up. So it goes to show you that, which was in overtime. So it goes to show you there's times that Mark Jackson really does have to reel him in a little bit, all right? But Steph Curry is a problem. Now, I do have a problem with Steph Curry when it comes to his ankle because, yes, he's had ankle problems, but let's get something straight here, people, all right? If you have an ankle problem and you're going into a high competitive atmosphere, all right, in the playoffs, put a brace on. What the hell's wrong with you? Protect your ankle. And a lot of people like to talk about when the Denver Nuggets hit him in the ankle. Was it Bush League? Yeah, it was a little Bush League, all right? But you protect your ankle. You know they're going to go after you. They're going to bump you. They're going to try to chump you. They're going to try to throw you off your game. You protect what is the weakest point, and then you make it stronger. That's what you do. But it seems like he still won't do that. Even in today's game, he did not wear an ankle brace. I don't get it. Wear one. What's the problem? Those speed reps, those Adidas speed reps, I've done a review on them before, they work. I don't know why he didn't even wear one of those. They're very light. I don't get it. But the fact is, this guy is dangerous when it comes to behind the arc. You have to give him his credit. I'm not a fan of much floaters. Him and Tony Parker love to do floaters. I'm not a fan of it that much, but I understand the NBA, a guard has to have it when you're going against those giants, unless you're going up and under on them, all right? But still, it needs to be done. Golden State looks really good. They have a problem in the end of games, about 6 to 3 minutes, I'll say, within the end of games, of just letting it go. We saw it happen in the first round, all right, and they almost didn't get out at that last game, and then they did in the first game with the Spurs. This series really should be a 3-1 series. It really should, but they're going to have to work through it. I put it like this: Memphis is going to be a problem if they can get past OKC. They're the only team I can see right now that can really contend with the Golden State Warriors. All right. The Thunder are really hurting right now, and Kevin Durant cannot keep putting up 35, 40 points a game. All right? And we just saw what happened not too long ago. Ibaka's missing dunks. Durant missed 2 free throws at the end of the game, and you can tell that really hurt him, especially from an all-star. And this is what I mean when a team relies on you so much. This is what happens. You take it all, you put it all on your back, and you just go with it. If he got hurt, I'm sure he'd try to play through it. Understand, Tony Bruno? Understand that? Sean Bryz? Yeah, see, none of you guys would be on the court anyway. This is what I mean. You go to the real sports guys when you want to talk to sports, and not these talking heads. I do want to talk about the East real quick. Derrick Rose, why aren't you playing? I don't understand this. You've been medically cleared for months to play. You should have been back by at least Game 3. Nate Robinson is playing out of his mind right now, and the Bulls can only do but so much with the Miami Heat, especially, I'm going to say this, with the refs. Seriously, that was a joke. You got LeBron flopping because now it was Muhammad pushed him. That was a flop. He didn't push him that hard, and he shouldn't have been ejected for that, because guess what? That's playoff basketball. People are going to push, they're going to elbow, they're going to do whatever. We've seen a hell of a lot worse happen in the 90s. So for them to start ejecting people or attacking people for all this, come on, man. Let these guys play. Let them play. Let them get tough. That's what happens. Playoff basketball. But it seems like now it is just the way the referees are just taking control of these games. It is a foregone conclusion on the East on who is going to the championship. All right? The Knicks have pretty much faltered with Indiana. Indiana is looking for payback on Miami, what happened last season. But we'll see what they can do. But when you have Miami, who is just, and I put it like this, there's times where your MVP is not the MVP he's supposed to be. All right? Seriously, 7 points in one game? Like, really? 7 points? Like, what? But then he came back the next game. He pretty much came out like fire-breathing dragon. I'll give LeBron that. But understand there's a difference between being the best player in the league, which a lot of people will say he is, and the most valuable player in the league. There's a difference, all right? If LeBron goes down, then he can still make the finals. They got Wade. They got Bosh. They got a number of role players. They got Allen. They have a lot of people that can still get there. That doesn't make him the most valuable player. Now, if the Knicks falter and say Melo goes out or Durant goes out, guess what? There's a problem. Even if Westbrook was still healthy, he wouldn't be able to carry the Thunder that much. There's a difference. And I hope you people understand that. If Curry, I don't even want to really put him into that category, but if Curry fell out with the Golden State Warriors, they'd be done. There's a difference between the best player and the most valuable player. And it seems like people don't understand that. And now these days, they go by name alone, I swear. And the way things are going, the way that, I have to talk about this, all right? NBA halftime show on ABC or ESPN. They have Magic Johnson, Jalen Rose. They have Michael Wilbon. First off, Jalen Rose can't talk anymore. I don't, he's come such a long way, and now he's faltered. Magic Johnson he just needs to stop talking, because every 6 seconds has to be about LeBron James. I swear, if LeBron James held some type of, fan meetup, Magic Johnson would probably knock over all his fans just to be the first one there to kiss his ass. As far as I'm concerned, you have to be kidding me. Michael Wilbon shouldn't be taken seriously. And they got some other guy who's not even a factor. He shouldn't even be talking. It's a joke. This is why I always change the channel. You can't. Like I said, TNT halftime shows are hilarious. Shaq, Charles, Kenny, and Ernie, they're hilarious. All right? And they still talk basketball. They do the right things. There's a difference. It's like night and day. It really is. But Sixers fans, I also hope that you're watching these games, because you can see in commentary aspects, especially I want to give a shout out to Chris Webber. He is teaching people so much about the game if you've been watching these games. He is talking about the way things are set up. It's amazing the way he talks about it. He really should be an analyst somewhere. I mean, ESPN has him or TNT has, whoever has him. I mean, he's great. And he needs more, he deserves more respect. He just does. He tells so much about the game as opposed to Malik Rose, the Sixers, who really just makes up a bunch of nicknames for, for the players, which makes no sense. And the Sixers, you should be ashamed of yourself. You really should, because a lot of fans are saying, well, the Sixers weren't that bad this year. Really? They weren't that bad this year. Did you see the record? I'm just wondering. And did you see just how immature they were? And for those who do not know what I'm talking about, at the end of arguing the last game of the season, the Sixers decided to show some immaturity.
Pacers will end the regular season 49-32, and they will enter the playoffs as the third seed.
So let me get this straight, all right? The season's over. This is the last game that the coach that pretty much backs you is going to be gone for good, and that's how you act at the end of the season. No shame, all cockiness, all ego. You've got to be kidding me. This is a joke, and then this is the people that Sixers fans want to back. And then you don't see the problem I have with this? Really? You don't? Look, first off, the Sixers just got a new GM president from Houston. I do not know how this is going to go. Right now, there's still a big question mark over it. I know a lot of people are happy about it. A lot of people are not so happy about it. I'm going to hold my judgment on that. The Sixers have a lot of work to do. All right? A lot of people need to be moved off this roster. They just do. This is ridiculous. I cannot believe that anybody would be okay with these type of actions, on or off the court. For those who say that they're diehard Sixers fans, you should know the Sixers have a legacy. All right? It means something. That franchise means something. Just like how the Eagles are and the Flyers are, they hold a certain accountability. And it seems like nobody understands that. Whatever. As far as I'm concerned, whatever. But I do want to talk about the Flyers real quick. And now I want to talk about hockey. All right? Some of you guys have been asking me about hockey. I want to talk about one, Ilya Bryzgalov. Yeah. Because now that the Flyer season is over, we're going to wrap up a little bit of Ilya Bryzgalov and what he had to say about the media not too long ago.
You know, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of bear, but bear in the forest. Okay, great news. I'm not playing tomorrow night.
You saw a flurry of shots there in the final.
How big is the universe? Well, trying to find a peace in my soul to play in the city. Good news, we have a chance to win the game tomorrow. I was lucky it was not that bad, you know, like because I'm tough and Russian. Come on. I serious.
In his brief tenure as a Flyer, Ilya Bryzgalov has been quite the wordsman. It's debatable whether he'll get the benefit of the remaining 7 years of his contract to spend further quotes for an engaging media. On Sunday, in what could be the goalie's final stand in Philadelphia, Bryzgalov didn't hold back while providing the Dunkin' Donuts quote of the day.
Sometimes I only can compare. It's not like fair or not fair. It's sometimes I already, like we had that conversation, it's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. You know, sometimes you're reading and it's like, oh my God, who is this lunatic, huh? What they're writing about. Because it was nothing close to the truth or be close to the related to hockey, you know, and it's just, you read this and like, oh my God, and I gotta deal with these people every day, you know. Like I said before, guys, before you're writing something, you've got to read what you're writing.
All right, first off, let's get something straight here. I do agree with Bryzgalov about the Philadelphia media because they are garbage. All right, Exhibit A earlier. Okay, now, I will say this. Bryzgalov, for you to say that has nothing to do with sports, what he's referencing to is the fact that a story came out saying he fell asleep during a team meeting. That has something to do with sports, Bryz. It does. All right, but you want to say it doesn't. Which it does. Now, a lot of people were saying it really didn't happen. A lot of people saying it did happen. There's actually an article not too long ago where players, I believe I showed it before on Twitter, when players said it actually did happen. So you believe whoever the hell you want to believe at this point, all right? But as far as I'm concerned, for Bryzgalov to be worried so much about the media, all right, when you should know how the media is here, you should be worried about your goaltending. And for those who don't know what happened, Bryzgalov, after the Flyer season was over, went back overseas to play as a goaltender. And guess what? Dunked another shot again. That's right. I'll put the link in the info bar for you for that. This is just something he does. This is ridiculous, all right? But the NHL playoffs are doing really good. I want to say that Bryzgalov, I really don't want to see him in a Flyers uniform next season. I really don't. But I want to talk about NHL playoffs, all right? It has been physical. It's been crazy. I want to talk about the Islanders real quick. and the Penguins. First off, Penguins fans, you know I'm a Philly fan, so you know I hate the Penguins. However, you guys made me some money this weekend because I picked that the Penguins would beat the Islanders in 6. That's right. So, you made me some money. There's a difference between being a fan and being smart about things. I'm just saying. So, I want to say that. And yes, once again, the Penguins also had a lot of calls in their favor, especially when you touch Sidney Crosby, because he's just so delicate. He really is. He's so delicate. Look, the fact is, all right, the Penguins are on pace, but I really don't think that they are going to get past the Senators if the referees let physical play go. I really don't think it's going to happen, all right? There's a lot of teams out there right now who are looking cup-bound right now, and a lot of people like to talk about the Detroit Red Wings and the Ducks, and you know what? That's a great series going on right now, but you cannot undermine the Blackhawks, who just destroyed the teams out there, all right? Especially in the beginning, in the beginning of the season as well. You also have, you have the Ducks, you have the Red Wings, you have the Blackhawks, you have the Sharks. You can't count the Sharks out either, all right? These teams are good. The Kings, defending champs, still coming back. You can't discount any team right now on the West. You just can't, all right? But I am looking forward to, the Senators and Penguins, and then you also have the Maple Leafs and Bruins still playing. You also have New York and Washington still playing. So all those games are very exciting to watch. And the NHL playoffs are really shaping up. The only gripe I still have about this season is how short it was. Still, just how short it was. So I'm really hoping that all of these games that we're seeing so far really go 7 games so that we have somewhat of an extended season, because you know how it is. Once the season is over, everyone's going to be like, hockey's over. And then the other half of people are going to be like, welcome football. You know what I mean? Then when during football, everyone's like, well, hockey's back. This is, same thing. Same thing over and over. It's just sad to see something end. You get what I'm saying? But this will be, some great experiences. Please watch the NHL playoffs. They are great to watch. There's, like I said, a lot of physical play, a lot of fighting. I mean, seriously, should we go back to the Canadians game? There was 135, minutes of fighting? Like, the penalties? Like, that was a crazy game. Unbelievable game. Just fights after fights after fights. One guy just walked over with his stick and just hit the guy in the back of his leg. It was like out of nowhere. And he started fighting. It was just crazy. You know what I mean? That is what hockey used to be like back in the day, so we got a little taste of it. It's interesting. I know a lot of people would say it's unsportsmanlike. It is very unsportsmanlike, but that's how raw hockey was back then. It's just amazing to see how guys in the NBA can get thrown out of a game for pushing someone, and hockey players can beat the hell out of each other. It's crazy. I don't know. Anyways, I'm done for the week when it comes to sports. I got 2 more videos coming up for you guys for gaming. I got a little business to settle with something I talked about last time in my gaming video, and then give y'all a new one. I'll talk to y'all then. Y'all be safe. I'm out.